Captain Dean Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Captain Dean Show. I am Captain Dean, and on this episode, I am once again bringing to you a fan request of one of my Mark Hoppus inspired basses. This particular bass was the second one I did after I did the shell pink version of a Mark Hoppus bass with the octopus. I call that one Josie. You can see that in a previous episode. This particular bass was built because I was this close to making an actual replica Mark Hoppus bass, which in the beginning I fought really hard against because I want it just like all of you. I want Lettuce. I want Scully. Look at Alan Corona's collection. My God, he's got all the various ones, especially coming from the era of like California and stuff like that. But like he's done the Candy Apple Red one. People have done the AOL Sessions yellow bass and all kinds of stuff. I like that. I just don't want to be in a band performing original music and using those. I have nothing against it. I really don't. I think it's fucking cool. But for some reason, for me personally, I just don't think it fits me. So I'd rather do something more that's inspired. Just like, the black and white pick guard, you can look at D.D. Ramone and say that that was an inspiration from him. And of course, you could go all over the place. This particular Stingray, Mike from MXPX and is known for using Stingrays. I could easily put the MXPX, dude right there in the pick guard if I wanted to. But I get inspiration in many different ways, and when it comes to my basses, I lean more toward inspiration and doing something more in the vein of like a salute or some sort of nod to my heroes. And in this case, Mark Hoppus is a huge influence on me as a songwriter, as a bass player, but I don't really mimic what he does. I don't go out of, to do things like a lot of guys just load videos all day long of them playing their Mark Hoppus bass along with their favorite Blink-182 songs. I love it. It's just not who I am. So again, I lean more towards the inspiration of things. When California came out, Mark had come out with a new record and everything, and they start touring again. And his bass collection at that point had just exploded in cool. And the one that stood out to me was Relic. I'm a huge fan of course, of white bass guitar bodies with, cool pick guards, and I like the relicing and the scuff marks and all that. And I just thought that bass was really cool. I loved how he put the original Blink sticker on it that a fan gave him. And that one also, he had the Mickey Mouse sticker on, and I'll get to all that in just a little bit. The Fender Custom Shop, it looked like they painted it like baby blue and then white, and then they started doing the relicing and scuffing of it, and the blue comes out really heavily in the armrest area of the bass. I had not owned a Jaguar bass at that point. I've played a few. I found them to be really comfortable. At the time, I was strictly a P bass guy, but I'd slowly started to get into jazz basses and, tinkering around, but staying in the Fender family. That's just my comfort zone. It's what I prefer. So I found this Squier Classic Series bass. This was available on Facebook Marketplace, which pretty much everything in this room came from. And a guy in Nashville was selling it. It originally was black with a black pick guard. And here's a photo of the original. And now here's what I've done to it. This is my version of Relic, but it's reverse Relic. And this was my general idea to do a version of Relic, but to do the colors flipped. I'm very, very pleased with the way this turned out. Again, a lot of influence from just keeping up with what was going on. Alan Corona, the biggest part of all of this kind of stuff coming my way and being influenced heavily by what he was doing. I started to discover things like Gear 182, 182 News, and lately I'm a big fan of We Are Literally Just Trying to Meet Blink 182. There's the Blink 182 Bass Project. I'm probably going to miss some people here. I'm probably going to miss some people here, and I apologize. But a lot of that Blink fandom for me was starting to discover things on like Instagram and, you know, YouTube and stuff like that. So this is Reverse Relic. It took me a while to figure out what the hell I was doing because I did not know what I was doing. The original pick guard off of a Squire Jaguar bass does not end here. It actually ended way down here. And I discovered that being a huge problem. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. So I came up with a brilliant idea. I set the pick guard on the body. I marked where it curved and where, you know, the shape of it, but especially right here. And what I did was another nod to the dude off YouTube that used the epoxy to fill in cavities. I used epoxy to fill in the cavity on this one for the jazz pickup body opening right there. The cavity was open right there. This was a different challenge. I took a stack of toothpicks and I put them together and I wrapped blue tape around them and basically built like a little wall. And what I did is I set that in here. I taped it along the side of the wall and then I curved it right where I needed it to end and then taped it against the wall there. I completely filled this area with toothpicks and just, again, from digging this out to put these pickups in this particular bass, you have to route out and chisel out room to make those fit. So I had a lot of wood dust. I had a lot of just, pieces of wood that had come out of that. So I filled that little area up completely with a lot of different wood, and I would put a layer of epoxy, sprinkle some wood in it, layer of epoxy, sprinkle some wood on it, and then at the very end of it, it was a mixture of both. I put the epoxy just right at the level where the cavity ended for the opening, and then sprinkled some wood dust on top of that so that the sanding would be fairly smooth. If you get really close, you can see where that area kind of was, and of course where the jazz pickup was right there. You can probably see that in the light. But knowing that I was going to do relicking and scuff marks and all that stuff on it, I didn't care because it wasn't going to matter at the end of the day. Once you started getting onto it, it would be covered up, and again, from a distance, nobody's going to see it or give two damns about it being there. So the important reason why I got this particular bass off Marketplace, I was really keeping an eye out for Jaguar basses that were for sale. It had to have the block inlays. It had to have the rosewood neck. And I didn't care what the body color was. I didn't care anything about, because I knew what I was going to do. So I found this one, and I think I paid it was like $175. It was a really good deal. The guy was a typical Nashville studio musician who had a studio in his house, and he had all the gear he needed in there, and he had a couple of basses and guitars that he was selling, and thankfully this was one of them. So, to the paint job. I reversed the colors, of course. I painted it white, but I only painted it white right here, just to get that look like Mark's in a way, of having the wood grain scuff mark in the white paint. But I just painted the white kind of pretty much on the curve there. And then all of this was, I believe it was like 3 or 4 coats of this baby blue color. And that was the end result with that. It turned out great. I had a few things that like scratch marks and bubbles and things like that. But again, it didn't matter because I knew I would use that to my advantage in the scuffing department and messing with it. Of course, I pre-ordered the Seymour Duncan quarter pounders and made sure I had everything I needed. The sticker, again, just like on Josie, I got this at Disney World. And this is even more accurate just because it's a Jaguar, it's a reverse Relic model, and of course Mark has this sticker on his Relic base. He also had the original Blink-182 sticker that a fan gave him, and he put it on the pick guard right there. To honor that, I made a version of my band, Trash Devils, and did my version of that because I thought that was a pretty cool way of keeping it original to me. So let's get to the really good part, and that would be the pick guard. This is a WD pick guard, and I reached out to Alan Corona when I was doing this because I needed his help. If you look on their website or on eBay, it is not there. It is not available. Maybe it is now, but a few years ago it wasn't. So I reached out to Alan to ask for his help, and he is such a nice guy. It makes me angry because I want to be as nice as you, Alan. I'm not, but you're the greatest, sweetest man on earth, and all of us Blink bass players just love you and adore you, and you know that. Alan helped me get this. He reached out to WD and sent them the dimensions. And of course, he had been building bases at that point, getting stuff from them. So they knew him. He had a good relationship with them. So it just made sense for me to ask for his help. And thank goodness he helped me out. So I just said, I don't care about anything. I just want it to be that brown tortoise shell and very similar to what Relic has. And this is what came in the mail. Alan helped me out tremendously on that, and I am very appreciative. Thank you. Of course, it had to be, I did the body work and everything to make it fit and everything. So there you go. That is Reverse Relic. Sticking with Mark Hoppus, I put a Mickey Mouse pin on there as well. Actually, this is it's a 2021 model. And I think I got it in 23, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a few years. The back, I had 2 of these. The original one went on Josie. I ordered 2 just in case I had a mistake. So the second one went right here. I got a 9 decal off of the 9 CD, which is crappily taped onto that. And then I put a Blink sticker up here. Just to big shout out to them. Of course, the back's all beat up and it's rough. It's not very clean. It is lacquered, but mostly on the front and sides. I didn't really care about the back, of course. I want it to get scuffed up and beat up looking. So anyway, big thanks to Alan Corona. Big thanks to all of you out there that are fans of Blink-182, that build your own bass guitars and do things like replicas, or kind of like me, you do some sort of inspired look on your bass. I'm a big fan. I watch all of you guys on YouTube. I follow everything I come across on Instagram. I look for all the hashtags, anything related to Mark Hoppus, Hi, my name is Mark. Anything to do with base building, it's very inspiring, and you guys inspired me to make this one. When I was in the process of building it, I got word that Mark himself saw a picture of it, and I hope he gave the thumbs up to it. Mark, I really appreciate you, your music, your inspiration. You guys are just the creme de la creme, or whatever you say. You guys are just the absolute best. I love Blink. I love the inspiration that you guys give to us for not only music, but inspiring us with gear, inspiring us to play instruments like the ones that you guys use, because they sound great, they look cool, it just fits. It's like a cool little family to be a part of, and I'm really proud to be a small part of that family. So again, thank you, Alan Corona, for all of your help, and your inspiration on doing what you do inspires people like me to make stuff like this. Big thanks to Gear 182, 182 News, Poppin' Curbs. I love you guys. I cannot wait. Every time you post a new episode, it is there. I'm there. I can't wait to see what you're talking about and what you're doing. I've recently come across, we are literally just trying to meet Blink 182, which is a great little podcast. Those two are doing a great job of doing history, and they go to the sites and do just cool episodes about Blink and their music and their history. And I love it. I love all of you guys out there in the Blink 182 family. I really appreciate what you inspire me to do. And there you go. Reverse Relic. This is my 2021 Jaguar Squire bass that I turned into a Mark Hoppus inspired Reverse Relic. I did the best I could to match up the paint job, but flip the colors, of course. I've got the Mickey Mouse sticker. I've got a version of my band to kind of mimic the original Blink sticker. I've got Seymour Duncan SPB3 pickups, quarter pounders loaded. The WD pick guard was custom ordered thanks to my friend Alan Corona in San Diego. I love the aged kind of color on the headstock, and I love the block inlays. I don't have a lot of basses that have block inlay frets and all that, so I'm very happy about that. But there you go. That is my Reverse Relic Jaguar bass.